What's going on, guys? Teen Mechanic here. I thought I'd bring you a short little video. I've got I don't know, more than I can count on all three hands that I have. Of just stuff going on. Like, I've had a lot of stuff going on. It's been crazy. I still have the damn Mazda. I was hoping it would be gone by now, but of course it's not. Maybe by the time you're seeing this, which hopefully it's same day, I don't know, it won't be gone, probably by the time you're seeing this. But either way, this is going to be a quick video on restoring the headlights. Before that, though, let me give you guys a quick little update on where it's at. It's come a long way since the last little bit of recording I've done. The interior's back together. We no longer have a console in the back seat. Now it just needs one hell of a detail, like, holy yeah, it's bad. Anyway, you're gonna have to excuse this. This is honestly a dangerous work area. Like, this is now ridiculous. I have to clean this up. Anyway, though, let's get into restoring these headlights. First, I'm gonna clean up some of this, but then we're gonna get into this. Now, this is all feeling like it's on the outside, which is good. Sometimes it's on the inside. This is all on the outside. Yeah, you can just see that. So anyway, it's pretty simple. I don't have an actual video on my channel about doing this, so that's why I'm filming it. So what I'm going to do basically is clean this down with some alcohol. Then I'm going to start sanding. I'm going to start at probably 800 grit on this side, maybe 1,000 on that side, and I'm going to work my way up to about 5,000. Maybe 7,000 once I've done quite a bit of sanding, and then I'm going to polish them out, and it's going to look real good. So let me clean up this. Okay, I'd say that's a lot better and stained, so, you know, this, now I can at least walk around over here, so that is good. There's still a bit of mess, but that sure is a lot better than what it was. So, yeah, so now I'm going to go ahead and start on this light. So what I've got is I'm going to start with 1,000 grit, and then I'm going to work my way to 5 and then 7, and that's honestly good enough because this is a flip car. I'm not going to spend a long time sanding it. So anyway, yeah, let's get going right now. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is take a degreaser and spray down this whole thing. This is absolutely a heavy-duty industrial degreaser. So nothing should stick on there after this is all used. So let's give that a good wipe. You can already see it looks better because it's filling in all those little someone's already tried sanding these, obviously. So next thing I'm going to do is take my sandpaper and soak the heck out of it with soap and water. So I'm going to start with the back here and just spray it like mad. So once it's nice and soaking wet, I'm going to soak down the headlight as well. Now, if you want to tape off your car, do it. If you've got a nice car, you should mask off your bumper or something with some newspaper. Well, I'd use plastic if you got it, a garbage bag or something, but this will work. Now, you should use a sponge. Put a sponge in here as well. So I'm going to see if I can find one of those. Okay, so I can't find a sponge, so I'm just going to use the paper. This isn't actually by the book, this video anymore, but I'm just kind of showing you how I do it, and it's no big deal. So anyway, you're just going to go back and forth, and even if you have good parts of the light up here, like I said, you don't want to just sand one portion of the lens. You want to sand the entire thing, even if you have good clear plastic, because if you don't sand the whole thing and decide to just sand in one little spot, and you decide to add clear coat after, it's gonna come out looking really bad after. Like I said, if you did decide to put clear coat on it, and definitely make sure this is all wet the whole time. The soap and water acts as a lubricant. And also, when you're sanding, make sure you don't accidentally overlap any of these panels, because that will leave your paint finish looking real bad. I'm not applying any pressure on this sandpaper. I'm letting it do the work. If you do apply too much pressure on the paper, number one, it can create hot spots. So if I had three fingers on here, it would create 3 really strong lines of sanding, and in between would just be kind of still rough and original. And if you do, and number 2 is if you press too hard and you end up with really deep, even though this is just 1,000 grit, it can still gouge your plastic way deeper than you'd like. So if you do end up with some scratches that are too deep in your lens from the sandpaper, go up to 2,000 instead of 5,000 and knock out those 1,000 scratches with a lower grit. Alright, let's wipe it off. Alright, looks a lot better, right? No, it doesn't. So basically now what we've done is we have a nice uniform haze over the whole lens. And now we're going to work our way up through the rungs of the sandpaper. So now, well, this actually looks pretty good. It feels all smooth. There's no more roughness around any of the lens. So I'm going to degrease it one more time here. And make sure I use a new nice towel. And run around here and make sure I get any grease off of it once more. Then we're going to douse the lens again. And I'm just using dish soap and water. You can use different headlight lubricants if you want. But like even a clay barring solution would work, or a wet sanding solution. Soap and water is the cheapest and best way. So now I'm going to take my 5000 grit. I usually like soaking down the back of it first. I don't know why. I feel like it kind of absorbs more. And then the surface of it. That's when you can go ahead and spray the surface of the sandpaper here and get everything wet. Now that we've got proper lubrication, again, not pressing hard, letting the sandpaper do most of the work. I am pressing a little bit firmer with the 5000, but not hard enough to really notice any sort of a difference. And again, be careful when you go near the corners here. Definitely be careful of your paint. You should, like I said, you should mask this off with a garbage bag. If you have it, or plastic of some kind. If you've got poly, if you're a painter, use that. But yeah, no. So this is just a cheap car, so it's fine this way. I'm just being diligent not to overlap the paint. Another thing, don't stay in one place for too long. You want to kind of spread out your sanding, because that can also create hot spots and create a lot more sanding scratches in one place than anywhere else, and cause your finish to look bad. Remember, what you're doing now is however much you put into what you're doing now is basically what you'll get out of your finish. So now basically I'm not going to be applying any sort of a clear coat to this because it is just a flip coat. I might decide to later, but for now I'm just going to polish it. So let's wipe this off here. So if you do a bunch of swirly scratches all over the place and make it look poor, yeah, your clear coat's not going to look very good if you do decide to do clear coat. And I'll tell you how to do the clear coat if you want, but I'm not going to be able to do it in this video. All right, so by this point you've kind of seen the drill already. I'm going with my 7000 grit here, which if you're clear coating, I would stay around the 5 to 7. Don't go any higher than that. But if you're polishing, I'd go up to 7. You want to make sure maybe even higher than 7, because you want to make sure that polish is actually going to be capable of knocking all of these sanding scratches completely out. If you feel any really tough spots where you're hanging up on something, I would focus in that area just a little bit more and make sure that you get any contaminants that you may be hung up on. Make sure it's not just your paper, but yeah. If you do happen to knock into the paint just a little bit on something as high as 7000, polish should be able to take that out of the clear coat in your paint, so I wouldn't worry too much, but still be diligent with not hitting your paint, because it's just an extra headache that you really just don't want to have to deal with. So you may end up buying a car that has headlights that look something like this. Now, if you do, that means somebody already attempted a repair. If you come over to this side of the car here, you can see it sure looks a lot closer to that than naturally oxidized. Now, this here looks, and you can tell someone has sanded these down before and probably done what I'm doing now, sanded it and polished it, and now it looks like crap. So, if you want to avoid this happening again, what you need to do is grab some clear coat, but not just any random clear coat. You want to get specific stuff. And here's the stuff you want to get. Now now it doesn't have to be Rust-Oleum. You don't have to get the Rust-Oleum like this one. But basically what you want to look for on a can like this is, it seals, it's clear coat. But get the gloss, make sure it's not flat or something like that. Get gloss, clear. for headlights. And also, see how it says also bonds to plastic? That's something. It doesn't necessarily have to say that. Just look at the directions and make sure it does bond to plastic. And look here. You can see it says fast drying, which is fine. That's just convenience. But right below that, it says non-yellowing and UV resistant. That is something you want to look for. Rust-Oleum seems to be pretty good about advertising that. Other ones have it too. Just make sure that you look for those characteristics, non-yellowing and UV resistant, and make sure it bonds to plastic. And that is basically, and also make sure that it's the finish that you want. If you really wanted to do a flat clear coat, you could, but it's not worth it. So, and the reason I'm not using this is because I don't have any good stuff. There's paint in here, but there's no more air in the can, and I don't feel like fixing it right now. So anyway, I'm just going to polish this out and let's see how this headlight turns out. Actually, before we get to that, one more thing about the clear coat. If you do end up doing that, you want to make sure that all of this is masked out, or you take your headlight out and spray somewhere safe. Now, what you'd want to do basically is just do a thin dust coat and don't worry about full coverage on the first coat. There's lots of videos out there, but in short, it's that. You'd see it really start to clear up. Then you do a second, a little bit thicker coat, and a third, little bit thicker coat, and that should be good. 3 coats is usually fine. That is what you do if you're painting. I'm not painting in this case, so let's move on. You can actually see where I did bump into the paint a little, so the polish will take care of that. So the first thing I'm going to use here is actually compound. Now, this is a little bit tougher than polish. Polish is just kind of a little bit finer. Imagine sandpaper. This would be 1,000, and polish would be 2,000, something like that. It just gets more fine. Obviously, that 1,000 is sandpaper. This would be more like 20,000, but still, that is kind of how it works incrementally. So now I'm going to grab a polishing pad, and we're going to get right into it. All right, so don't mind the really dirty pad here, because this is all I'm working with at the moment. You definitely, if you've got a nice car, don't want to be messing with a dirty pad. But just throw a little bit on the polishing pad, just like that. And you can use an electric buffer if you want. Not everybody has one. I do. I just don't feel like putting another bonnet on it, so I'm not going to use it. Now, this, if you did go over your paint, you don't have to worry really about kind of going onto your paint a little bit if you did overlap with the sandpaper, because that actually will help the sanding scratches you left. And I'm not using a very aggressive pad here. You definitely should be if you're going from 7,000 grit, but that's okay. This compound is going to do, I'd say, a good enough job taking care of that. Definitely make sure you get into the corners like this. You want to make sure the whole headlight has a uniform finish. Then I'm going to grab a microfiber towel and buff that polish off of the lens. All right, check that out. That looks 10,000 times better. Now, I'm going to put a before picture up right now, and you'll see just how big that difference is. Now, I'm going to just say right now, you can see it's not perfect. This is not even close. I mean, it's bad. But, if you went, keep in mind, you went from, this was 5 times better than that one, and it still just is a night and day difference. This helps sell cars, even if it's not a huge difference. These headlights still have a little, that's oxidation you can't get off, actually. You can't. That's on the inside of the lens. But, it's not perfect. But if you've got headlights that are even worse than this, and yellow, versus that, selling a car, that is a gigantic help, and you can actually see when you're going down the road now. So, if this video was helpful to you, give it a like. If you didn't like it, or you thought it was terrible, and I did a bad job, no use, give it a dislike. But let me know how I can improve in the comment section below. Let me know what you want to see. If you want to see anything more on this Mazda, let me know. There's not a whole lot more content I can get out of it. There is, but honestly, I need it gone because I'm driving my mom's van around right now, and I'm gonna see about getting a Crown Vic or something back, and then drive the AMC and the Caddy in the summer. So anyway, thanks again for watching. Comment down below what you want to see, or if you do want to see anything left with this Mazda, and I'll see you very soon in the next video.